Hi guys, I'd like to give you my thoughts on this new book. It's called Baby and Toddler Basics, Expert Answers to Parents' Top 150 Questions by Tanya, Altman, published through the American Academy of Pediatrics. And this is not a book that you read front to back. This is more of like a resource guide when you have questions as a parent and you don't know what to do. So instead of searching random Facebook groups, or instead of asking your mom to see what they did, 20 or 30 years ago, this is a new book with the current standards that the American Academy of Pediatrics would recommend to you. So lots of really good questions in here. Let me show you some of the answers. Just so you know, since it is by the American Academy of Pediatrics, it's not going to necessarily be in conjunction with a lot of what certain, let's call them like alternative parenting or certain attachment parenting groups are going to say one thing, and this is going to be something else. So if you're looking for more of that holistic, natural approach, this is not going to have necessarily a lot of that same information in here. But this is put out through research and science and actual recommendations of what's proven to work. So I like that. So they've got chapter 1, basic baby care. Here's one about crying. My baby won't stop crying. I can't take it anymore. All this crying and my frustration, is it normal? And so that's the question. And there's an index in the back that you can think of, whatever you're looking for, you look it up in the index and then you find, that part. And they say babies do cry. It's their way of communicating. Don't take it personally. He may be hungry, gassy, wet, cold, hungry, or just maybe want to be held. The first few weeks, if he's not hungry, gas may be the culprit. You can do gas exercises such as leg pumps or bicycling legs while the baby is on his back before feeding, or when your baby seems gassy or fussy. Once your baby turns 3 months of age, you will have gotten to know him better, and you may learn to distinguish cries and what they mean. Once a baby has been fed, burped, changed, and checked to make sure nothing is hurting them, it's generally okay to let him cry for a little while. One practical approach to calming crying babies was developed by Harvey Kapp, MD, FAAP. In The Happiest Baby on the Block DVD, he demonstrates the 5 S's: swaddling, side/stomach positioning while awake, shushing, swinging, and sucking. Another S I like to add is singing a song. Your baby won't care if you can't carry a tune. Some babies also enjoy walking or moving around, so hold your baby, dance, and go for a walk, or put him in a swing. It may help the both of you. And then right here they have a little cell phone with like a motion going on, and that says, gives you a tip. Call your pediatrician if your baby has high-pitched or excessive crying or is truly inconsolable. The crying won't stop no matter what you do, since severe crying can be a sign of illness. I know that our first baby cried a lot and he had a lot of spit up, and I thought it was normal for a baby to throw up after every meal. I just thought it was normal. So my next 2 kids didn't do that, so I think he definitely had some extra problems on that I didn't realize. So let's see what they say about my baby spits up a lot. So let's check to see. Spit up. HIJKL. Spit up. Oh. Spit up. Spit up. Spitting up. Bottle feeding, no. Calling the pediatrician, danger signs, GERD, happy spitter. Is it normal? Reflux. At what age it resolves and when reflux peaks. I'm going to look at reflux because I think that might have been what he had on page 76 and 77. 76. So this is question number 40. What is reflux? I see this word in a lot of parenting magazines. Reflux is a name for spit up caused by the stomach contents going the wrong way out of a baby's stomach. It is very common in babies because the baby's feeding tube, esophagus, is short and the muscles, sphincter, at the bottom of the feeding tube and at the top of the stomach are relaxed and floppy. This allows food in the stomach to more easily come back up and out of the mouth, hence the spit up. As long as your baby is a happy spitter, and is feeding, growing, and developing well, usually no treatment is needed. So my son was what they would call a happy sitter because he seemed to be fine otherwise than just literally throwing up after every time I would nurse him, which to me seemed weird, especially as a first-time parent. But I actually also thought it was normal at the same time. I thought, oh, I guess this is just what all babies do. Now I know that it's not. The feeding tube will lengthen and the sphincter muscles will naturally tighten as he grows. So the spitting up or reflux usually resolves by 1 year of age. In the meantime, giving your baby smaller, more frequent feedings and holding him upright for 10 to 15 minutes after feeding will help. And then they've got the little cell phone here. It says, if your baby frequently spits up or has any of the symptoms listed here, talk to your pediatrician. She may have what is called gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD, G-E-R-D. If this is the case, your baby may require medication or other tests for treatment. Symptoms include the following. Your baby is not feeling well or is not gaining weight appropriately. Your baby develops respiratory problems like coughing, choking, or wheezing. Your baby seems uncomfortable, cries, or arches her back after feeding. She may not always spit up. The spit up is projectile, literally shoots across the room. And the spit up has a green color. This may indicate a different problem that requires immediate attention, so call your pediatrician right away. In such cases, your pediatrician may recommend changing the consistency of your baby's formula or breast milk, using a thicker formula or adding a small amount of rice cereal, even starting medication to help with reflux. It is also important to note that reflux peaks between 2 and 3 months of age, so the volume of spit up might worsen before it gets better. So that, yeah, I don't think any of those additional like GERD symptoms really apply. He would spit up and I'd be like holding him and it would like go over my back and like hit the floor, but they say it literally shoots across the room. It literally did not shoot across the room. It shot like over my back. So I'm going to assume that he did not have that according to their description. Another something we've had to deal with here is falls. So let's see what they say about when your baby falls down the stairs. 221 to 224. 221. Fell off the couch. No, she didn't fall off the couch. Tripped and fell while running. Has been limping for a few days. It's not quite it either. She fell down the stairs. And the internet told me not to worry about it. But let's see what the American Academy of Pediatrics would say. I'm going to read this one. It's 123. Help, my baby fell off the couch and I think she hit her head. What should I do? Even though newborns rarely roll over on their own, they can wiggle and squirm, which is how they somehow manage to fall off couches and changing tables when parents turn away, even for just a moment. So after the loud thud is heard throughout the house, how do you know if your baby is truly injured? Usually a baby will cry immediately and then calm down when picked up or comforted by a parent. Once she is calm, use your hand to gently press all over her body. Look for any tender areas that make her cry. If anything seems to hurt or if the initial crying persists, your baby should be evaluated right away. So that was so far, no, my baby, I picked her up and she was fine, but obviously scared, but so far that does not apply to us. Luckily, most falls, whether they involve beds or couches, walking or running, do not result in serious injury. The most common cause for concern is head trauma, and unless you saw your toddler fall, it may not be apparent if she hit her head. If your child loses consciousness after the fall, she needs to be evaluated as soon as possible, so take her to the nearest emergency department. If she cries for a moment and then continues playing, your pediatrician may ask you to closely observe her at home. Check your child's scalp. Large goose egg-sized bumps are typically a sign of injury on the outside of the skull, not the inside where the brain is. If your child will let you apply ice or a bag of frozen peas or corn wrapped in a cloth for a few minutes to help soothe the pain and decrease the swelling. As long as your child is acting all right, your doctor will probably say there's no need to wake her up through the night to check on her. And that's goes back to something that like my parents would have been told is to, after a fall or something like that, where there's sort of a head trauma, is don't let them go to sleep right afterwards. But that is no longer the advice they give. I guess that doesn't apply anymore. So that's good to know. Then here's our little cell phone warning. It says, call 911 if your baby or child loses consciousness or is seriously injured. Otherwise, call your pediatrician and explain what happened. The doctor may want to see your child in the office or have you take her to the emergency department, especially for the following reasons. So here's, if any of these happen, go to the ER. The fall occurred from height higher than a bed or a couch. Your child is not responding as she usually does. Your child is continuously crying. Your child is vomiting. Your child complains of a severe headache. Your child is lethargic. Your child is overly sleepy. Your child is not talking or walking as usual. Later, your child is not feeding or acting as she usually does. So actually, yes, one of those did apply to my situation, so it seems that I should have taken her to the ER, but I didn't. Had I had this, I would have known, instead of just looking up the internet and see what most people on the internet seem to say. Maybe not the best advice to follow random internet strangers. But nonetheless, here's how it continues. To prevent falls, buckle the safety strap around your child when she is on the changing table. Don't leave her alone on a bed or couch, and never put her in a bouncy seat or car seat on an elevated surface such as a tabletop or countertop. Call your pediatrician and go to the emergency department if your child begins complaining of a severe headache, or if she cries uncontrollably, vomits, is too sleepy, is not responding as usual, or is talking, walking, or acting abnormally. Also, if your child has a cut that won't stop bleeding within 5 minutes of applying direct pressure, call your pediatrician. So I think that gives you guys a good idea of what this book is about. I highly recommend getting one for yourself, and if you take your child to a sitter, I would get one for the sitter as well, just to be, so everybody's on the same page. So, oh, hold on. All right. So yeah, I would like to thank the American Academy of Pediatrics for sending me this book to review. It's super helpful, and I hope you guys check it out as well. I'll probably go ahead and throw an Amazon link in the bottom if you're interested in checking it out, so you can purchase it from there. All right, thank you. Bye.